Today, we're going to completely dismantle a seriously exhausting myth. You know the one? The idea that happiness requires some kind of massive, earth-shattering life upgrade? We're constantly told that we'll finally be happy when we earn way more money, when we get that big recognition, or when our chaotic lives finally just settle down. But what if I told you that the secret to feeling lighter isn't actually found in a dramatic overhaul? It's found in tiny, almost invisible changes to your daily routine.
Seriously, ask yourself, are you constantly waiting for life to just settle down so you can finally be happy? Because if we're waiting for that perfect, stress-free moment, well, we might literally be waiting forever. Here's a fundamental truth we really need to keep in mind today. Happiness isn't a destination that just suddenly arrives. It's a learned skill. It's actually a neurological habit.
We're always told to chase these massive life upgrades, right? The big promotion, the cross-country move, the ultimate validation, but the actual neuroscience of change is way less exhausting than that. Your brain doesn't actually transform through sheer intensity. Instead, it rewires itself through tiny repeated actions. We call these micro-habits. They're so small your brain doesn't even resist them, but they are absolutely powerful enough to completely fundamentally reset your emotional baseline over time. No fake positivity here, folks, just pure science and repetition. Okay, let's dive into the practical blueprint. We're going to map out exactly how to slot 6 scientifically backed microhabits right into your natural daily routine, literally from the moment you wake up all the way to the second you wind down. So starting off with Section 1, Morning Brain Rewiring. Let's look at how we can immediately intercept your brain's default settings before they even have a chance to take over. Look, before your feet even hit the floor in the morning, you are already fighting an uphill biological battle against what's called the negativity bias. Thanks to millions of years of evolution, your brain is basically Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. It literally wakes up scanning the horizon for threats. It immediately looks for what's wrong, what's stressful, and what needs fixing right now. But here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. By intentionally searching for something positive, you activate an entirely different neurological network. It's called the reticular activating system, or RAS. Think of the RAS as the bouncer at the exclusive club of your brain. It completely decides what gets noticed all day. If you look for stress, boom, you'll see stress everywhere. But if you intentionally search for something good, you hand your brain a completely different lens to view your day. And that brings us to habit 1, naming just one good thing right after waking up. Before you even think about looking at your phone, just ask yourself, what is one thing that is good in my life right now? It can be incredibly simple, your health, your partner, or honestly, just the fact that you're about to drink some really good coffee. By taking maybe 5 seconds to do this, you slowly train your brain to stop that automatic default to stress and instead default to possibility. Moving right along to habit 2, morning light. Now, this isn't just a pleasant view to enjoy with that cup of coffee. It is absolute neurological fuel. Exposure to natural light early in the day is literally your brain's start button. You know, you really don't need some complicated 2-hour morning routine. A simple 1-minute micro-investment, I'm talking just standing on a balcony, opening a window, or stepping out, completely regulates your circadian rhythm, boosts serotonin, and stabilizes your mood. People chase these intense routines and totally ignore one of the most powerful mood regulators available. Train your brain to associate mornings with natural light, and you'll quietly steer it toward true emotional steadiness. Okay, moving right into the active part of our day, we hit Section 2, Hacking Daily Dopamine. Let's look at how we build up some serious daily momentum. Usually, when you finish a task, resist the urge to procrastinate, or make a healthy choice, your brain just aggressively shouts, "Next." But neuroscience proves that progress actually triggers dopamine, and dopamine reinforces behavior. Taking a second to pause and acknowledge that progress actually strengthens the exact neural pathways that say, hey, this matters. Which brings us to habit 3. High performers don't just chase big, rare victories. They build massive momentum by celebrating microscopic wins. Instead of the totally exhausting habit of ignoring all your daily achievements, just pause and quietly say to yourself, good job. Honestly, tiny progress, when consistently recognized, magically transforms into lasting confidence. Building on that midday momentum, let's look at habit 5, which involves sending a single positive message to someone. Just a quick, I appreciate you, or you did great today. No special occasion needed. These simple acts of kindness activate your brain's reward circuitry, releasing dopamine and oxytocin. But more profoundly, it shifts your worldview. You stop seeing the world as a neutral or hostile place, and you start experiencing it as deeply relational. When your brain feels safely connected to others, it creates the absolute perfect environment for happiness to thrive.
Now, of course, stress is automatic and totally inevitable. And that brings us to Section 3, the power of pause. How do we handle those really tense moments on the fly?
For habit 6, your ultimate tool is simply the number 3. You don't need to escape to some 10-day silent meditation retreat, okay? Whenever you face a tricky email, find yourself typing out a frustrated reply, or you're about to walk into a tense conversation, your only job is to execute 3 slow breaths. Calm, unlike stress, can actually be actively trained.
And here's the exact actionable formula to get back to calm. Step 1, pause. Step 2, take a long inhale. Step 3, follow it up with an even longer exhale. Remember, true happiness is definitely not the absence of stress, because let's be real, that is completely impossible. True happiness is actually the ability to return to a state of calm faster after that stress hits.
Those 3 simple breaths, they aren't just a psychological trick, they trigger a rapid biological cascade. Within seconds, this intentional breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Your heart rate steadies out, your thoughts clear up, and your physical reactions literally soften. It's a tiny little pause that pays massive biological dividends.
As the day finally winds down, we enter Section 4, Evening Memory Consolidation. This is where we get to actively shape exactly how we store the events of the last 24 hours.
I mean, we've all been there. The most common evening trap is lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, and replaying every single mistake or awkward encounter from the day, right? Well, Habit 4 requires you to resist that urge and ask yourself this one incredibly specific question instead. What went well today? Not what was perfect, not what was a major life breakthrough, just what simply went well.
So why is this so absolutely crucial? Because human memory is not a video camera. It is highly selective. If you never actively revisit your good moments, your brain just quietly deletes them to save space. Yep, deletes them. By reflecting on what actually went well, you are actively storing those positive moments and building an undeniable biological case that your life actually contains way more good than your daily stress tries to convince you of.
All right, let's tie all of this together with Section 5, resetting your emotional baseline. Let's talk about the neurological reality of tomorrow. Individually, a single deep breath or a quick 5-second moment of gratitude, well, it doesn't exactly feel like fireworks. But together, they act like compound interest for your brain. They're doing the quiet, vital background work of changing your emotional baseline, subtly shifting the underlying default state of your mood. And really, this captures the entire essence of the science we've explored today. One day, you wake up and you realize you're reacting a little less to stress. You're appreciating things a bit more. Something simply feels lighter. That is the subtle, gradual, and lasting result of training your brain through pattern and repetition. So rather than asking if a tiny habit is going to magically fix your entire life today, I'm going to leave you with this provocative question to ponder as you build your own daily momentum. What are you teaching your brain to feel tomorrow? Just pick one of these micro habits, make it automatic, and watch how your days begin to transform.